Today I fucked up by playing a game on my phone and sexually assaulting a college girl. Obligatory, happened when I was in college, about 2 years ago. I'm a male of South Asian descent, was about 26 years old at that time. I probably look like the typical person you'd say go back to India Upaki. Around the US. Too long didn't read. At the bottom. I play an augmented reality mobile game like my life depends on it, and I'm guilty of not paying attention to my surroundings. This forms the foundation for the story. This man-child of a person that is me, was rushing to class while playing the mobile game. Not rushing as fast as Scarlett from Gone with the Wind, but could rival her in other avenues perhaps. Eyes glued to my phone, legs carrying me through flights of stairs, little holes in the walls, through crevices only the most seasoned students of the campus were aware of. Just my typical day really. Then I fucked up while crossing a bridge. Silly me decided to pick up the pace because 1:24 has just hit the clock, and class is at 1:30. No big deal. I've done this before. As I'm playing my game and letting my muscle memory take me to my destination where my head will be sliced open for an agonizing 80 minutes, I fucked up. I bumped into a lady, shoulder to shoulder, and my phone causing an invisible dent on her arm. We'll call this lady Merida. Merida had glistening golden curls in that monstrosity of a nest on her pineapple-shaped head, possibly brown or green eyes. I wasn't paying attention. She was definitely not a size 0. She was most definitely not my type. You'll see why in a bit. As I bump into Merida, I quickly apologize, and continue on my way. Then the brakes hit instinctively in response to the wail of an angry, furious, livid Merida. Oh god, I fucked up. I'm a bit shaky and I turn around to face the wrath of Medusa herself as I'm stunned and just about speechless. I don't remember word for word about the screaming that followed, so some exaggeration is inevitable. You sick bastard. Why can't we feel safe anywhere we go? Did it feel good? Maybe they don't teach you about assault where you come from. An apology isn't serious if the assault was intended. How dare you? I am very sorry. It was an accident. I was hurry. Shut the fuck up, pervert. You've gotten away with this far too long, but I'm not the kind of woman who's going to turn the other way. I will be reporting you to the campus police. She uttered the P word, and my whole world came crashing down. I can't get deported over this while not having finished schooling. And matters were made worse as more and more people began to slow down to get an idea of what was going on, with a couple others beginning to form a small crowd to watch You Are Not the Father show. Miss, I assure you it was a mistake, an accident. I was Stop it. Save your excuses for the cops. Or finished. Miss, please hear me out. It really was an accident. I wasn't paying attention. And I wouldn't assault anyone. I'm married. Proceeds to wave my wedding ring in her face from a distance. Oh, you're fucking married. Does your wife know what a disgusting piece of shit you are? Don't you dare move anywhere. Merida begins fiddling with her phone in attempt to locate the campus police phone number, I presume. Miss, please, listen to me. It was an accident. I am trying to explain. I wouldn't assault you because I am married. Please, look at this. I admit, I was trying to take advantage of the situation because I had a secret weapon that would slap her hard in the face. Which was pretty basic. My wedding photos. Do not come near me. Okay, but please look at these photos from my wedding. She hesitates, but looks. Her face is now pale. Merida is speechless. Can see she's trying to find words, but her vocabulary has deserted her for 5 seconds. Without saying anything further, she turns around and scurries off. Without an apology. With everyone around us probably assuming I showed her a snippet of 2 girls, 1 cup. I breathed a sigh of relief and continued to class. I did not play my mobile game on the way again that day. I did get late to class, but whatever. Oh. What scared Merida off, you're wondering? I was smooching and hugging my husband in the wedding photos. Too long didn't read. Fucked up by bumping into a college girl while being on my phone and ended up being accused of sexually assaulting her, and almost had the cops called on me. The situation was diffused by showing off my very gay wedding photos. /edit. I most certainly did not expect the post to be discussed this much. Some things I need to clarify since Automod is removing responses regarding my opening statement. I can see why some of you are upset about the racial undertone there, but it was added to make the post subtly more humorous. Sure, not many Americans call us packy and whatnot, but if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. But please do not be dismissive of our experiences, because we live it. There's also been some questioning about the legitimacy of this story, and that is fine. Karens are pretty generic. But if you snoop through my post history hard enough, you would see that I've shared this story via comments a couple of times over the last couple of years. I've only posted this today as its own thread because I was encouraged to. Beyond that, yes, take everything with a grain of salt. I did address that I do not recollect every detail from the encounter. And most of you have been very kind, and I appreciate that and the awards. Thank you. I mean, she was in the wrong and I'm glad she backed off, but if she really wanted to double down, couldn't she have just claimed you're bi? Undercommittal needs training to achieve true Karen potential. It's nuts that bumping into someone's shoulder escalates to assault and sexual assault in a few seconds. Me, feeling horrible at the beginning and nearly crying. Me at the end. Oh, it was a surprise but a more than welcome one. I wish you and your husband all the happiness in the world! Exclamation mark. Thank you so very much. Heart, heart. That's rough, buddy. It's the thing we all feared when our mobile games came out. The herd of blind people trying to catch Pokemon and walking into people, traffic, bushes, etc. As an avid Pokemon Go player, I'm guilty of looking like a creep while taking our photos. Embarrassed smiley face. It's not a today I fucked up my dude, it's today I'm a champ. I understand how this is a fuck up, but A, bravo on how you wrote it, and B, just well done. Today I fucked up by accidentally bringing my vibrator to a hospital throwaway account because I don't want my cringiest moment of all time connected to my precious Reddit account. This actually happened 10 years ago, but I think of it often enough. It's almost like it just happened last week. This still haunts me at random moments of my life. I went to the doctor because I was experiencing some pain and wanted to have it checked out. I was running late, so I grabbed a bag that was sitting near the bed and threw my wallet and keys in it and ran out the door. The appointment ended up being in the hospital near me, and on that day the doctor had 2 interns with her. She asked me if it is okay if they stick around, and I say, of course yes. I sat down and started telling them about my issues. They asked me to move to the table for an examination, and so I popped my bag on a chair and walked over to table. At this point I was so frazzled that I was late. I didn't notice the sound that my bag started making once I placed it on the chair. I sat on the table, and as the doctor was poking different areas of my abdomen, I am finally starting to pay attention to what is happening around me, and I hear a war you sound. It didn't hit me yet what I was hearing until one of the interns said, "What is that sound?" I look over at my bag and the realization slowly sinks in. That sound is coming from my bag. The bag I grabbed that was sitting near my bed. The bag that I stashed my vibrator in last time I used it. My face started to flush red. I let the doctor finish prodding my belly while attempting to answer her questions. The only thing I could think of was, oh god, how am I going to get out of this? At this point, one of the interns had figured out what was up and started to laugh. The abdomen examination was done, and I hopped off the table and walked over to my bag and attempted to put my hand in to turn it off. What happened then can only be described as the worst case of Murphy's Law in the history of fuck-ups. This vibrator had 2 settings, and in attempting to turn off one setting, I turned on the other setting and turned up the first setting, to which now the sound was a sped up war and increasing vibrations from the other setting. At this point, the intern, the other intern, and the doctor are all starting to understand what is happening in my bag. I don't know what shade of red I was at this point, but I'm guessing it was something to marvel at. I'm sifting through some papers that had been in the bag and feeling other junk that I had thrown in this bag at some point. My heart must have been beating 1,000 beats a minute, and I finally realized that I needed to pop off the battery pack and pull the batteries out. The sounds suddenly stop. Now in what felt like total silence, I stood there with my hand in my bag and slowly pulled it out to look over at the doctor and her interns, and all three of them are just looking at me, the first intern with her hand on her face trying to choke down laughter. At this point, I sit down in the chair and try to act normal until the end of the appointment. I literally have no recollection of her diagnosis. I do remember the doctor telling me something between spurts of laughter, but that is it. This day has haunted me ever since. Too long didn't read. I brought a vibrator to my medical appointment and the vibrator I forgot was in my bag turned on when I put it down. 9 times out of 10 it's an electric razor, but, every once in a while, looks around, leans in conspiratorially, it's a dildo. Leans back, of course, it's company policy never to imply ownership in the event of a dildo. We have to use the indefinite article, a dildo, never, your dildo. I'm an obgyn. I've seen this kind of thing actually happen before. Sex toy fall out of a purse. My response was, "Mom, sex toy, embarrassing photo, personal information, whatever." Thank you for it not being another shank. Related story. Lady pulls her medication list from her bag, comb with a knife blade tied to it falls onto the floor. Me, that's a shank. Her, yeah, but it's also a comb. Me, yeah, but it's also a shank. Damn, if I read that story under your reviews I would totally pick you as my doc. Yay, but it's also a shank. Had me rollin'. At least they know you don't suffer from hysteria. Think of it this way, some people end up in the hospital with a vibrator in a place other than their purse and doctors have to remove it. Awesome story, and you probably completely made their day. Don't be embarrassed, it's an absolute hoot. As someone who works in an ER, that's a story we might hear for a few days, and then someone showed up with a piece of rebar stuck in their face or a light bulb in their butt. Your story long since forgotten in favor of the new story du jour. It'll come up from time to time, I'm sure, but it's not a big deal. Remember that sex is normal, even if it's self-gratification. Hope that makes you feel better. Today I fucked up, I nearly nominated myself for a Darwin Award. Standard disclaimer, this wasn't today, this was actually about 12 years ago. At 18 me and my best mate moved out from our parents and rented a house together. This period of my life was pretty much non-stop parties interspersed with occasionally going to uni or work. I was basically drunk from 2008 to 2011. What I will also say is I'm a fairly intelligent guy. I'm not Einstein, but I was always top of my class, so I'm not really sure how I could have been this stupid even drunk. In the house our bathroom was downstairs for some reason and was right next to the kitchen. The toilet was right next to the bathroom door and there was a gap of about an inch under the door. Me and my mate got into the habit of waiting until the other was having a shit and then lighting small fireworks or sparklers and posting them under the door right next to the feet. Not sensible but funny. Anyway, one day I came home, drunk, and my pal was taking a dump, so I sprung into action and grabbed the sparklers and tried to find a lighter, to no avail. He didn't have gas hobs, so that was out. In my hurry to scare him I had a thought, we'd used the heating element in the toaster to light a joint before now, surely it would also light a sparkler. Now I'm pretty sure that sparkler is the international term, but just for the avoidance of doubt, a sparkler is a long metal stick that is coated in combustible material at one end to give a pretty light show. Not the sort of thing you want to be putting in a toaster. So I put it in the toaster. Almost immediately there is a very loud bang. I get a mildly painful shock up my arm and all the lights and electrics go off. The toaster is smoking and never works again. Straight away I become sober and just think, oh yeah, that was fucking stupid. I was never very good at science, so I'm not sure why I'm not dead, but on the plus side I did scare my mate. Anyway, it's 12 years later and I'm European head of health and safety at my company now. Too long didn't read. I stuck a metal stick in a toaster, didn't die.